Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all, Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langaiti Girim, Yatkrupatam Ham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhvam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the Japa session. So, we'll continue in English about today's topic, that is Pratipadam Purnamrita Aswadanam. So, before we begin, let us sing the first stanza or the first text of Shikshashtakam. चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहदावाग्निर्वापणं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधू जीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधेवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्ण संकीर्तनम. So we have seen Cheto Darpanamarjanam, then we have seen Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, then Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, then Vidyavatu Jivanam, and Anandambudi Vardhanam that we have seen yesterday. So today we will see Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. So we'll try to see the meaning of each word. Pratipada means at every step. Purna means complete. Amrita means nectar. And Aswadana means the tasting or relishing that taste, right? So when we talk about Amrita, in generally, nectar means, sometimes when we hear something amazing or we taste something amazing, we will say like, it's like a nectarian man, right? So sometimes, we see that there are some franchises of tea which actually named as Amrita Tulya. That means it is as comparable to the nectar. So generally, none of us have tasted the nectar. But when we taste something amazing, we will say it's nectarian, isn't it? Even after a long time, if you are drinking water, like you are very much thirsty, and after that you are, drinking the water, and you'll feel like, it is like a nectar only. Why? Because life comes, no, when we drink the water after a long time. So we may talk about nectar and we may compare anything that is amazing with nectar, but we should know what are the characteristics of nectar. So in general, there are three characteristics of the nectar. One is that it will increase our lifetime. Okay, so when we see that Hiranyakashipu, when he performed the austerities for 10,000 years, what he asked Brahmadev is the nectar like lifetime. That means Amaratva that we say. He wanted to get away from the death. He wanted to live forever. But Brahmaji told, I myself do not have that benediction. So how can I give you that? Isn't it? So generally, when we drink the nectar, we will live forever. Our ayu, that is our lifetime, will actually increase. That is why we see the after the churning of the ocean, the milk ocean, Sagar Manthan, when the Amrita came out, the nectar came out, Devi Devtas actually drank it. But still, they are not going to live forever. Why? Because they are still in the material world. So in this material world, nothing is permanent. So when we talk about this Harinam Amrit, what we are talking about is we are talking about shifting ourselves or transferring ourselves from this material world to the spiritual world. So when we go to the spiritual world, is there any death? No. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Birth, death, old age, disease are not there in the spiritual world. So the same Harinam will actually deliver us from this material world, and it will actually shift us or transfer us to the spiritual world. So that is why the Amrita is actually makes us live forever. And the second is it gives so much of strength, right? So what kind of strength? It will actually give the spiritual strength. So generally, when we are going through life, life is very difficult. Many situations will come where we actually give up on life. Okay, it is very difficult to go through the situations where we lost someone or where we lost something, right? Or we are not able to find something or get something. So life will be tough. So during those tough times, we need to have a lot of courage and a lot of strength inside us. And that can actually be given by this Harina. So the spiritual strength, what we are talking about, will actually give us the strength to sustain and survive in this world for the good. Then the third characteristic is that it is amazingly tasty. So nothing can be compared to the taste of this nectar, right? So that is why when we actually taste something amazing, we'll say nectar, isn't it? So nectar has an amazing taste. Okay. Now, when we actually awaken our love towards Krishna, then there is a possibility of tasting this Harinama Amrita. So now we are taking Harinam, but whether this is Harinama Amrita or not, we don't know. But we hear from the great devotees like Srila Rupa Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where they say, Srila Rupa Goswami, while he was chanting this name of Krishna in the Antya what he says that Tunde Tandavani Ratim Vitanute, Tundavali Labthaye, Karna Kroda Kadambini Ghatayate, Karnar Budhebhyah Spruham, Chetah Prangana Sangini Vijayate, Sarvendriyanam Kritim, Nujane Janita Kriya. Kyabhir Amritaiha Krishneti Varnadvai. So this two syllables Krishna are so amazingly taste, so amazingly nectarian that I feel like I should have lakhs and lakhs of tongues and crores of ears, millions of ears to hear that. So generally, we also like some things. We also like some sweets or some hot or some item, some dish, we like it. But we never feel like we should have thousands or lakhs or millions of tongues to taste it. We might feel like, I want more and more, but we don't say that, I want more and more tongues to taste it or ears to hear it. But Srila Rupa Goswami, what he's saying, that he wanted to relish it so much because he feels like, one tongue, 2 years are falling short to relish the taste. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, when he was given this Hare Krishna Mahamantra by his Guru Maharaj, Ishwarapuri, Srila Ishwarapuri, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after chanting for some time, he came back to his Guru and told, Kiba mantra dila gosani, kiba tara bala, japite japite mantra karila pagala. So what kind of mantra you have given to me? What kind of taste it is? What kind of strength it has that while I'm chanting, I'm going mad, right? We also go mad because we don't have taste, right? We feel like, oh, how long I have to chant? Same Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we also go mad because we don't have taste. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Rupa Goswami is going mad because it has so much of taste, right? So these people are saying like, there is a lot of taste, but I am chanting with my tongue, with my lips from a long time, but I don't feel that taste, right? So is it true or not? Okay, sometimes our mind will also give so many doubts. Okay, so let us try to understand this. Now Krishna, when he talks about the pleasure, okay, in Bhagavad Gita, he talks about different levels of pleasure. That means different ways of actually having the pleasure: sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. That means in the mode of goodness, the pleasure will be different, and having pleasure in the mode of ignorance and mode of passion will be different. So when he talks about mode of goodness, what he says in 18.37 Bhagavad Gita, yat tadagre vishamiva pariname amrutapamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. So when we are doing something sattvic, initially poison will come. Why? Because we don't feel like doing it. Okay, for example, getting up early in the morning or reading a book or doing exercise and all of these are troublesome activities. But if we do it, we will appreciate ourselves. When we get up early in the morning, it will be difficult. Sleeping would be preferable, right? But when we sleep for a long time and get up, we ourselves will curse, like, why did I waste so much of time in sleeping? If we are tired, that is a different case. But in general, when we sleep more, we may enjoy while sleeping, but once we get up, we are frustrated. So if you are getting up early, you may get frustrated to get up early, but you'll feel happy because you got up early. So initially, the visha, the poison will come. You don't feel good, but after that, you will start feeling good. Reading a book, we will might get asleep. We might find it boring, but once we continue, what will happen? We will understand so many new things. We'll learn so many new things, and we will appreciate ourselves for doing that activity. So agre visham ante amritam is the characteristic of pleasure in the mode of goodness. And when we talk about that pleasure in the mode of passion, then what it says, Vishayendriya samyogat yat tadagre to amritopamam pariname vishamiva tat sukham rajasam smritam. So in the mode of passion, what will happen? We want to seek pleasure in doing sense gratification. So when we are attracted to the sense objects, we want to enjoy sense gratification. That time, what will happen? Initially, we'll enjoy, right? But over a period of time, what will happen? We will actually get frustrated. So sim little pleasure, but so much of consequences. Just like people who drink and smoke, they may enjoy initially, but what happens? Over a period of time, even though they want to give up their habits, the enjoyment is not coming, but because of the craving, they have to take it. And because of that, they are damaging their own body and life. So what happened? Initially, it started with pleasure, but over a period of time, it has ended into a lot of bad consequences. So whether in the mode of goodness or mode of passion, there is poison. In the mode of goodness, initially poison, and the end, nectar. In the mode of passion, in the beginning, nectar, in the end, poison. So some or other way, poison is there. But Pratipadam Purnamrita Aswadana means there is no poison at all. There is only nectar. In the beginning nectar, in the middle nectar, in the ending nectar. So that is the stage of transcendental stage, right? So when we are talking about mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, but we are talking about the mode of pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva, or a transcendental platform. So when we start awakening our love towards Krishna, when we become more sincere, the cleansing process will happen, and that will actually take us to the stage where we can have Purna Amrita Aswadanam. Now, this Harinam Amrit, this is nectarian, but why we are not able to taste it right now? Because Srila Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instruction gives an example that he says in the 7th verse, Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pittopatapta Rasanasya na Rochakanu Kintwadarat Anudinam Khalau Saiva Jushta Swadi Kramat Bhavati Tadgatamula Hantri. Just like a person who is suffering from jaundice, right? He has to take the sugarcane juice. Now, when he takes the sugarcane juice, in reality, the sugarcane juice is actually sweet. But when he drinks, because of his disease of jaundice, that same sugarcane juice will not taste sweet. It will actually taste bitter. It will be very difficult to even swallow also. But still, he has to take it. Why? Because that is the cure. So similarly, we are not able to find taste today in the Harinam. But over a period of time, if we keep chanting, then the taste will come. Now, the difference between this holy name and the sugarcane juice is that we know that sugarcane juice is sweet because before we got jaundice, we were normal, our tongue was normal, and we were able to taste it sweet. So when someone says that, the sugarcane juice is sweet, we don't doubt it. Why? Because we already know it. But we have not tasted the Harinama Amritam, the holy name nectar. We have not tasted. We've been tasted it some millions and billions of lifetimes back when we were in the spiritual world. But once we came into this material world, we never know when we have tasted it, right? And that is the reason there is no faith or belief initially. But still, we have to continue. Why? Because Shabde Vishwasa, the Guru Sadhu Shastra are saying that this is nectarian. So I should believe in that. I should have faith and I should continue. And while I am continuing, I have to have patience. All right. If I don't have a patience, then what will happen? Then I will lose out in getting the taste. Just like, we have a habit of doing the things only when it is pleasurable. Right. So everything that we do, we feel like, pleasure should come. Then only I'll do. If it is displeasing, then I will not do it. But this activity will not give us pleasure every time. Sometimes we may get a pleasure with Krishna's mercy, with Guru's mercy, but not every time. It will take some time to reach to a stage where we can relish it or get the pleasure by every mantra, right? But initially, we may not get it. So as long as we are not getting it, we have to be patient. We have to tolerate this poison. For example, the children like to play, right? If you tell them to study, it is not pleasing them. Right? Only some students, some studious people are there who are not interested in playing only in studies. But we are talking about general people like us who are not at all interested in studies initially, right? But if we neglect studies, what will happen? We may find happiness in playing, but how long we will play? Over a period of time, if we only keep on playing to enjoy the play and ignore the studies, what will happen? Over a period of time, when we grow up, we do not have a job, we do not have a career, and will not be settled in our life. So what happened? Neither will feel good about enjoying our play, nor we have anything to do now. So what our parents will do? They know this. And that is the reason what they do. They'll forcefully make us study, make us go to school. And then what happens? Over a period of time, when we grow, we ourselves develop interest in studying and we actually settle in a good career or job. And then we will thank our parents for all their force that they have done to get us this studies. So similarly, our acharyas, guru, sadhu, shastra and all, and our own intelligence is making the child, our mind, so forcefully chant this holy name so that Today I know that it is difficult, but tomorrow you will appreciate all these forceful efforts. So that is what going to happen. So today we are forcefully doing it, right? But it's okay, right? Sometimes people will come and say, like, you should not do bhakti like this forcefully. You should be happy, you should be doing it. But first thing is, we cannot be happy just like that when we start the bhakti. It will take some time to happily, pleasurably doing that. But till that time, you should do it. Otherwise, some people will come and tell, Arey, 100% if you are sincere, then only you have to do. Otherwise, you should not do. Right? In Hindi, they will say, यार शुद्ध मन से करना चाहिए. अगर मन नहीं है तो नहीं करना चाहिए यार, ऐसे थोड़ी ना करते हैं भगवान को. So they will tell us that, when your heart and mind, everything is in sync, then only you have to do this bhakti activities. Otherwise, you should not do it. This is not good. That is what they say. But actually, by not doing, you cannot become pure, or by not doing, you will not start liking the things. By doing only, there is a possibility that you may start liking the things, isn't it? So we have to tolerate why we are doing this. Now, what is the main reason that we are not able to have this taste? Okay, how we can understand this, that the pure devotees are tasting it and we are not tasting it? So what is the difference? What is the problem that we have? What is this avidya that is actually blocking our taste? So when we see, like, generally, if you want to listen or relish a song or something very nice, palatable dish, then you have to be there? You have to have zero distractions, right? If you are listening to something and someone is coming and shouting at your ears, then you cannot listen or you cannot relish. If sometimes you take a good sweet rice, very tasty, you're just trying to put at your mouth and someone just pushes you away, then what will happen? The whole thing will spill over and it will not reach to your tongue. You will not be able to relish it. So our distractions are making this thing. We are trying to chant and so many distractions are coming. Oh, what happened to this thing? Did you do that? Did you do that? Oh, when you will do this? When you will answer that email? When you will answer this person? Okay, why this person is behaving like that? Why that thing has to go in this way? Why Krishna is doing like this and all? So many things will keep on coming. So the moment we want to relish the taste, the distractions are getting us here and there. And then because of our attachments also, all these distractions will become very prominent, right? So over a period of time, by living into this material world, we have developed so many mental impressions. Just like if you see a new house wall, it will be very clean, newly painted. But over a period of time, if you start living in that house and if there are children, okay, then what will happen? They'll do anything and everything on the walls. They'll start writing, they'll painting, they'll make it dirty. All right. So over a period of time, 5 or 10 years, if you see the walls of that same house, it will be dirty. Why? Because we've been spending time with the people who are living in there. So we cannot expect the walls to be same. So similarly, we are living in this material world from very long time. That is why our mind has so many material impressions. And because of that, our distractions, our attachments, all will be there. And when we are chanting, what will happen? All those impressions, all those things will come in foreground and they will start disturbing us. They'll not let us taste the nectar of the holy name. So what we have to do? We have only two ways to clean the paint or clean the dirt that is on the wall or repaint it. So we cannot catch our mind and throw all that garbage that is there outside. Okay. But what we can do? We can repaint it. That means we can impress our mind by giving some spiritual experiences, spiritual things, right? So when the house, the walls get dirty, we cannot clean them. We can only repaint them, right? When we have big events in our house, what we do? We repaint our house because that dirt on that paint is so close that we cannot clean it with something externally. We have to paint it only, isn't it? So similarly, some of the impressions are so deep that we cannot pick them and remove them, right? We have to give spiritual experiences on that. So how we can do that? We have to increase our association with the devotees. We have to increase our book reading. We have to increase our chanting. We have to increase our diet, what we are taking from your ears and our mouth. That has to be, so our ABCD has to be increased, right? So the more we have this ABCD, the more we will be able to replace our material impressions with our spiritual impressions. So if you are looking at cricket whole day and then you sit in the evening for chanting, definitely you'll think about cricket. If you're watching all the day movies and when you start chanting, you will have movies only that is running in your mind, not the Krishna Leela, but some Leela that you have seen in the movie, right? So if you're talking and doing gossiping all the day, all those gossips will come in your ears when you are chanting. So what you are doing the whole day, that will actually decide what you are going to think while chanting. So from very long time we have not been associating with devotees. So how come we will get spiritual impressions while chanting? Right? So what we have to do, we have to gradually increase our spiritual activities. We have to replace our material activities with spiritual activities. We can understand that we are living in a family life, grahastha life, or many of us who are studying, doing job and all, we do not have 24 hours to do spiritual activities. But whatever 2 3 hours that you get, try to do more spiritual activities. And because of that, what will happen? Your chanting will become better, and you will start actually getting the pleasure. See, we buy the things by spending a lot of money to have the pleasure, right? But after buying those things, if we have so many distractions that we are not able to have pleasure, then our money will be waste, our time will be waste, isn't it? So however, we are going to chant for 2 hours, this 16 rounds. Okay. Now, if we are really intelligent, what we will do? We want to make this 2 hours count. So to make this 2 hours count, the other 22 hours also we have to manage our life in a nice way. Otherwise, what will happen? Everyone is tasting nectar, but we are not able to taste the nectar. Then what is happening? We are actually getting deprived of that taste, isn't it? So we have to increase our spiritual impressions in our mind gradually as much as possible. Then what will happen? We will start actually experiencing the nectar. Sometimes our mind will not only distract us by saying that let us do this sense gratification and all. Sometimes it will come in a different way also. Sometimes it will start criticizing us. It will tell, see, after 1 year 2 years also your thinking is same. Again you are getting angry. Again you are thinking about the sense objects. Again you are thinking about other things. Again you are worried about the things. What is the change that has brought by this bhakti? You are same only, right? Now also you are thinking like that. Earlier also you are thinking like that only. Earlier also you are angry. Now also you are getting angry. So there is no change in you. And sometimes people will also criticize us by saying that you have not changed by doing bhakti. So the thing that we have to understand is the change of desires or the change of thoughts will not happen immediately. It will take a long time. But the change in the value system will take place very fast. That means the thoughts may not change, but our actions will change. Earlier, we used to get angry and we used to shout at the person unnecessarily. But nowadays, we might be angry, but we are not shouting unnecessarily. So we should not judge our growth only by thinking, am I getting angry or not? Right? As long as you are in the material world, anger will not go just like that. It will take a lot of time. But have you been acting on your anger or not? That is important. The lust may be coming inside my heart, inside my mind, but am I acting lusty? That is the difference we have to say. Okay, I might become greedy, but I am I acting on greediness, right? The temptations are coming, but am I welcoming those temptations? Am I acting on them? That change you have to see, because things of that are there in your mind will not change immediately. It will take a long time, but the actions you can stop. Srila Prabhupada says the intelligence means killing a thought before it becomes an action, right? So if some temptation is coming earlier, 6 months back, 1 year back, or 2 years back, we generally used to act immediately, right? But now if the temptation is coming, what we are doing? We are postponing it. We are trying to kill it, right? So we may not stop the thoughts from coming, but we can stop them welcoming. Okay. Earlier, what used to happen? Whatever temptation come now, we used to act on them. Okay, you feel like eating that, let us eat that. You feel like shouting, okay, let us shout. You feel like doing this, let us do it. But now that is not happening. The desire may come to do something, to shout something, to eat something, or to do something, but we are waiting. We are postponing that activity, right? You can check your life. You are nowadays not postponing spiritual activities, but you are postponing sense gratification. Earlier, you might be postponing spiritual activities and acting immediately on the sense gratification. So this difference in action, if you see, then you can understand that you are actually growing. And this does not happen automatically. You have to remind yourself that yes, I accept that my desires and my thoughts are not completely changed, but the actions are changing very rapidly. Okay, so I am able to control myself. I am not able to control my thoughts, but I am able to control my actions. So this is happening. Now, why we have to think this? Because this will give us some encouragement to be tolerate. And when we are tolerate over a period of time, the Pratipadam Purnamrita Aswadanam will come. Even to tolerate, we need some encouragement, right? If you are going to gym and nothing is growing, okay, then you'll not be encouraged to go to the gym again, isn't it? But if you see that some growth is coming, then what will happen? You'll be encouraged and you'll be more enthusiastic to go to the gym again. So similarly, sometimes we compare ourselves, our thoughts with others, and we get discouraged. So when you get discouraged, you cannot continue, right? So that is why we have to be very careful about how we can encourage ourselves, how not to get discouraged by anything and anyone. Okay, how we can find out the parameters that can tell us that we are growing in bhakti. So when we see some good parameters, some good growth, then we'll be inspired and we'll be enthusiastic to move ahead. And if we keep on moving ahead, over a period of time, such a taste will come in the Harinamamrut that you don't need anything now. Now your mind is not going to distract you at all, right? We see the pure devotees, they keep on chanting, they keep on enjoying, relishing all this Harikatha and Seva. For them, there is actually no other thought. They don't want to waste even a second because they feel like, why I should waste my time in drinking poison when I have a chance to drink the nectar, isn't it? But now what is happening? Even though we want to drink the nectar is not looking like nectar. And we will feel like when the nectar is not like nectar, why we should waste this little pleasures also? Let us have pleasure in these small things also, right? But when the pleasure of nectar that is keeps coming in, we will give up this taste very easily. Param drishtva nivartate will happen gradually. But for that, we have to be tolerant. So to awaken the love for Krishna, to have the taste in chanting will take time, but it will happen for sure. Because we have seen the pure devotees, they have given us, the Shastras are giving the evidence that it is tasty. So we have to have full faith and we have to continue. The greater is our disease, longer it will take to cure. If the disease is smaller, it will get cure quicker. But if our disease is very great, very deep, then it may take long time. So if someone is getting taste, someone is having relishing the taste in chanting and doing bhakti, then we should not compare with them and just feel discouraged. We should feel like, if this can happen with that person, it can happen with me also. Maybe he is less deceased. Maybe I'm more deceased, so it is taking more time. So we just take encouragement, inspiration from everyone and everything, and we move in bhakti. And over a period of time, what will happen? Pratipadam Purnamrita Aswadanam will happen, and we will relish the taste and we will go back home, back to Godhead, and there we will completely relishing the taste again and again. So today the pure devotees, though they are in material world, their consciousness is in Vaikuntha. So though they are in Kuntha, they are in Vaikuntha through their consciousness. That is why they're able to completely relish this Amrita. So they have no distractions because they have only one attraction, that is towards Krishna. That is why nothing is able to distract them. So we will also, if we follow in their steps, in their footsteps, we can also have this Pratipadam Purna Amrita Aswadanam. So this is about this sentence, and we will continue with Sarvatma Snapanam, probably maybe 1 day or 2 days later. Okay, so Shri Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol